Hey kids, it's Jurassic James with Jurassic James Plains looking at Gryposuchus. This is the last one of this set, so it came with Megalosaurus, the Hyspanosaurus, this guy. So I think I did a video on all of its wave mates. This is the Epic Evolution Jurassic World Gryposuchus, so I will open it and then talk about it. That's what we'll do. Let's see. And using, you'll never guess it, the official scissors Jurassic James. There. It's always fun. The tail is in there. It's always fun. I have to rip this part off. That's sarcasm. Alright. So for packaging purposes, the tails are often shorter to fit in there. So as far as the play features, you have your DNA code, because kids need to do DNA, they have to do that online or whatever. You take the wheel. Okay, so now the science. Oh, right, I should probably show you. So here's how it looks. Look at the nose. Look at the back side. Look at the back. Look at the belly. Batteries go in there. Now, okay, so science. So here's the thing. So looking at the animal, the first thing that stands out to me is a large crocodile, right? But it's not from Mesozoic. It is not a dinosaur living animal. It is post-Mesozoic in the Miocene. So these guys live around between 20, the Miocene between 20 and 50 million years, not 50, dinosaur mind. 20, well, they've been dinosaurs are 65. So 20 and 5 million years ago, the Miocene, right? So again, this is after that. So the big deal here with this guy, where it fits in family tree, where it fits in time, for me personally, why I get kind of excited about it, is that we often see that the Triassic period between 250 and 200 million years ago is known as the age of crocodiles, or the age of crocs is a nickname, basically. The truth is, there aren't any actual, what we consider crocs today, living then. The animals we have then are animals like this. Now, I've already done videos on all of these guys, but just to the high point, this is the safari, and this is Jurassic World, this is the Postosuchus. And so again, these animals would appear to the average person like kind of weird upright crocs. Here we have the same animal, that's late Triassic. Here is Prestosuchus, and again, I did a video on this guy already. Here's the Jurassic World one. Here is a safari one like that. I think body's a big part of these guys' history. And of course, there is no non-Jurassic Park one. This is Ornithosuchus, and so this is from like the 90s. That's the last century, kids. 1990s, back in the day. So yeah, so these guys are, you know, were formerly called Rauisuchians as a group. They are now thought to be their own individual groupings with similar features. But again, when you say the age of crocs, you think of these guys, you think of the Bastrop, these animals that are croc-like but actually eat plants. So the truth is, yes, that's true in the sense of how they are understood, but actually during Mesozoic, there were a lot of weird, or what we consider weird today, croc types, but also post-extinction event, there were a lot of unusual croc types. And so the name Suchus actually comes from that. I mentioned Postosuchus, Prestosuchus, Ornithosuchus, it means croc. But don't let that be the limiting factor. This is a Suchomimus, which is a Spinosaurus cousin from Niger, Africa. And so Sucha, crocodile, being used in the name. Here's the Jurassic World. And of course, here's your, I think, Safari, too. I think. Where are you? Safari, yeah, Safari. So these are, yeah, so you're seeing the toys, the Jurassic World, are more exaggerated, but it has a very croc-like features because it has a very croc-like lifestyle. In that, it eats fish and hangs around the water. Although Suchomimus most likely did eat red meat, so, you know, other dinosaurs. But that being said, we're looking post-dinosaurs. So where's this guy fitted in the family tree and in life? Is that when you think big prehistoric croc, people often think Sarcosuchus, which is this guy here, and here's the, I think it's Collectae. So these guys here, and so this is a pretty close, not quite, a little smaller for this guy's scale. It's one of the larger crocs in his history, hence his toy. So these guys are actually not crocodiles. They are like just outside the crocodile family, but they superficially look like a croc, right? And you say, well, they look very similar. Are they related to each other? Actually, not really. What you may be seeing here is some convergent evolution. Another big, large croc or croc-like animal is the Dinosuchus. This is the only model I have. It is a Carnegie 1995 Safari. And Dinosuchus is found here in Texas, and they're known for their teeth mainly. If you want to see a life-size skull in Big Bend National Park, there's a museum there. And also, if you go to Dinosaur Park in Bastrop, they have a life-size model there in their park. My friends there. Um, and so this is not the scale. It's way too small for these models. But then you have animals like Caprosuchus, which are nosocrocs. So they're not. I mean, again, overall, they're closer to croc than other reptile, but they're not what we consider today modern crocs. And then into our modern groups. Now, here's the thing. The first one are what you actually call a crocodile, saltwater crocodile, Nile crocodile. These guys here. This is Safari. This is Mojo, actually, a newer company, to my knowledge. Alligator-wise, alligators like here, you have your, let's see, 97 Safari, and Schleich here, and the baby alligator there. And so you're seeing overall, like, what I like to do with the toys is you're seeing two different molds of the same animal from different companies. So whatever they have in common are things that the animals just have. Okay, so like sometimes they have a different stylistic look to it, but they're saying, okay, in general, alligators are darker than crocs. They have more U-shaped snouts, where crocs have more V-shaped snouts, right? So when you look at these two different figures, they're supposed to be the same species, but you see what's kind of similar and not dissimilar. So that's really kind of cool for me. But the big picture here is, see, I only have one of these. It's a 1999 Schleich. This is a Gharial, which are found in India. Now, what's really neat is that it's believed that this guy is actually, well, depends on which paper you read, but it's actually a prehistoric Gharial. Now, again, these are found in India. This is found in South America. And so the idea is that we now know that they went extinct in South America. So Gharials had a wider range, went extinct in South America, and now they're only found in India. And they're super endangered because humans and other things, of course. Now, the first question about this animal is, why the long, narrow snout? And the answer is, this is really good for eating fish. And you say, but James, alligators eat fish too, but alligators eat other things. Crocodiles eat everything, but Gharials prefer mainly eating fish. And so one thing to point out with this guy is that if you see this design, and even with Sarcosuchus, who is not a crocodile, not their direct ancestor, but a close relative of the group as a whole, they have this very narrow snout. They're probably eating fish too, but also dinosaurs. And so the idea here is that you're seeing both convergent evolution in that two different life forms, or lineage of life forms, evolve the same features because they're in the same environment. But also in this case, you see most likely ancestry, or not direct ancestry, but at least relatives, right? And so that's why this is such a special animal to me, because it's just something I never thought they'd make a toy out of. And so here we are. And not only that, like, there's one thing to make the scientific models, but to make an actual just toy for kids, that's kind of interesting. But does this mean that the children will most likely not have these two together, even though this guy lived like 15 million years ago, and this guy lived 100 million years, no, actually more than that, 120 million years ago? They never saw each other. Africa, South America, is that how it's going to work? No, of course not. They're going to be together fighting as kids. But, back on science. Here's the thing. So what's the story? So Pangea forms. It comes together in the late Permian, 270 million years ago, roughly. Pangea persists throughout the Jurassic. It begins breaking up in the early Jurassic, around 20 million years ago. And so what we know is the Atlantic Ocean is being born. So what they don't tell you in school, kids, is that when Pangea breaks apart, it breaks in two first. So the northern half has Laurasia, which is Laurentia, which is well, it's Laurasia the whole, but it's Laurentia is the name for North America before Pangea, when it was by itself. Baltic, which is Europe, and Asia, and like that. So it's all called Laurasia. And in the south, we have Gondwana, which is South America, Africa, India, Australia, all those places. And so India and Africa are close together, so which is why they share the same dinosaurs for like 50 or 60 million years, maybe 80 million years. They're very similar animals, and then they kind of start diverging because Africa and South America pull apart. And so to find, because crocodiles aren't known for great migrations, I mean, they do move, but the idea is that Gharials are found in India, these are found in South America, they were once in that huge range. Now, why is that so important to us? Because South America is isolated from most of its history until 2.7 roughly million years ago, when Panama connects South America to North America, or Central America. And so what's the big deal? Who did this guy live with? First and foremost, there are these things called terror birds, and this is one from the Miocene. So these guys are from the same, like, essentially same. Oh, actually, no, he's from. I didn't clarify that. Argentina, Peruvian, Amazon, Brazil. It's like, and there's multiple species, so like 4 or 5 species of Gryposuchus, and so they're from all. Oh, it's a part of South America. Now, does that mean if I find these guys and these guys, are they the exact same environment living together? We don't know that, particularly because, one, I, for example, live here in Texas in the Gulf Coast. I look at the maps of different wildlife, and it shows a lot of animals that I don't see all the time. I know there are skunks and opossums outside, but I never see them because they hide. So we don't interact very often, but we're in the same time and place. We're contemporaries, so the same thing can be said about this. This guy's living in like swamps. There's a lot of big crocs and croc-like animals in this environment. The birds may avoid that. We don't know. But that being said, who are its contemporaries? Well, unfortunately, other than this bird, the toys of the the names of the animals that live with it are not made into toys. So what would essentially be the ancestors of giant sloth, the ancestors of giant armadillos called placodonts, and the ancestors of modern armadillos lived in South America. But what happened basically was 2.7 million years ago, Panama connected, right? And it wouldn't be broken apart again until Teddy Roosevelt in the 1900s. The Panama Canal was built, and Teddy Roosevelt was a very strong proponent of that, if you didn't know the history there. So when you think South America today, you think of like jaguars. They wouldn't have showed up until then. If you think until the Panama formed. Llamas essentially were descended from the camels of North America that migrated across the world. And so these guys and these large birds were together. Now what we don't have toys of are marsupial saber-toothed animals. We have different kind of, essentially marsupial versus like bear and dog kind of animals. And when the Panama connection happened, we have what's called the Great American Interchange, where animals like lapidons, which are elephant relatives, and saber-toothed cats, and like dogs and stuff came to the south, and other things migrated north. And so the idea is that when Miocene, because that connection happened in the Pliocene, the Panama Formation, which was between 2.7 million years ago. So the Pliocene, P-L-I-O, Pliocene, was from 5 million years ago to like 2 million years ago, roughly. So that's when the Panama connection happened. This is the Miocene before that, so this guy from South America wouldn't have seen these animals. There were no llamas in South America. Now, there were animals called macrochenia, which are like llamas, but they're not llamas, but they're like convergent evolution. But the idea is that these animals live together in this environment, or something that the ancestors of these animals were there. And so the main thing to point out is this is a really weird croc, and it's really not quite in the great time and space, but the idea is that it needs that they're doing something unusual. I do think the legs are too long. This is my only like real critique, because if you look at a picture of the skull of this guy, it's pretty spot on. But the idea is that the legs, the way they're curled around, imply the leg is like that long, and they're not. That's not a thing. There's no way it's that long. I was shorten the femur, the upper leg bone like that. But overall, it's pretty neat. Do know that crocs in general, alligators and crocs, if you don't know this, the hands have 5 digits, and so they're 4. Same thing with alligators and crocs. So I can't remember if I read in the paper they found digits. They found a skull definitely, but again, we see usually in the toys like the Jurassic, well, just 5 and 5. They don't really do that. But I think it would be. I mean, don't do it if we have proof. But it would be neat to have like 5 and 4 because we kind of see that trend among other animals. But anyway, that being said, here's Gryposuchus. That's the exact sound of the animal. I'm kidding. But I will say, we don't know the sound of the animal, but the fact that we have Gharials and Crocs, now it could have had some weird soft tissue thing, but given the nature of this lineage, hissing, growling, those kind of noises, but we know for sure, so that's what we have. With that being said, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in.